What was the most frisky experience you've had at work? Viewers Edition. Story 1. I was in high school, not long after getting my license, working at Chick-fil-A. I was closing one night with the manager, who I was actually kind of friends with, in the back office, counting the drawers and doing stuff on the computer. 2 absolutely gorgeous girls I hung out with, one who regularly stayed at the other one's house because her own parents were gone working a lot, were waiting for me to get off work so we could get into some trouble, putting stuff up our noses or smoking something. My manager recognized them well enough, so he had no issue with them waiting inside instead of outside, where something could happen to them. It was my turn to clean the play place, and the girls, giggling, said they were going to go play there until I had to go in there and clean it. Well, I went in there after mopping the floors, and they told me to come all the way up top. I'm not sure how much detail I can go into here, but one of them had her pants and underwear off, enjoying some touching by the other girl, and told me to take my pants off as well, and both of them traded off, going down on me. Then we paired up and did the same to each of them before one of them climbed on me and rode me to oblivion. I certainly made sure to clean and sanitize very well before I walked out. They seemed to enjoy playing in that ball pit. As a bonus to add on, at the same store, I got to do some pretty nasty things to one of the hottest girls in my school in the stockroom. At Chick-fil-A? Wow, I thought they had moral standards of some sort. Isn't that why they're closed on Sundays? Maybe I should check out Chick-fil-A more often. Story 2. They're pretty hypocritical. To be completely fair, the owner and his family claim to be Christian, but they've always tried to represent the company as simply being respectful of their employees' and community's religious rights and observations, and family values. That is, being closed on Sunday isn't directly labeled for Christians, but so that employees who do have religious observations have one day to do so, and for the rest, it's a guaranteed day off to spend with family or whatever else is important to the employees. But you'll definitely see them supporting certain Christian organizations, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they have a lot of money tied up the big police funds in Georgia, which more recently have been getting more publicity due to the whole Cop City training facility near Atlanta that got a ton of pushback from the community, and where like 40-some-odd protesters were just arbitrarily charged as domestic terrorists a few weeks ago. Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty draconian and authoritarian. So not a good look on the part of a fast food company who claims to represent positive values. But in this day and age, I think for them they probably see it as being on the right side of the issue. Story 3. Another one came to mind. I used to work in entertainment for a very large entertainment company in a warm climate state. One show had a control booth that was also accessible to the cast members, but remote enough that it took a couple minutes to get to from backstage. A single person ran the show from the booth and could hear when others were halfway from the backstage to the booth, so plenty of time to react to visitors. There were all kinds of rumors of the person running the show hooking up with cast and other crew members up there, partially because many times at shift change, there were 2 or more people in the booth. I believe the rumors because I was one of the people who had hookups in the booths, and I'm sure participants from mine and other hookups helped fuel the rumors. I worked at a campus theater in college as a trailer editor for the cinema group, and we had access to the projector room. Similar rumors about this, where people would hook up during screenings or late at night before the building was locked up. Really, what would you expect? A bunch of frisky college kids with access to a private, dark, and cozy space with an added flair of scandal. There was no way that wasn't going to become a hot spot for those that could access it. Story 4. I used to deliver office supplies for a small company. While I was out delivering supplies, I got a call from my boss asking me to come back and get one of our sales ladies. Apparently, her car had broken down, and my boss was genuinely nice, so he offered to drive her home after her shift. I hadn't finished my deliveries for the day, so I was going to finish them after dropping her off. Boss didn't realize that the sales lady and I had dated before I helped her get the job. She had me drop off my deliveries on the way to her house, and then blew me in her driveway before heading back to the shop. I got back to the shop just in time to go home, called up the sales lady, and went back to finish what we started after work. Best day at work ever. Just to keep this as family-friendly as possible, I should clarify that when OP said the sales lady blew him, he probably meant that she blew him a kiss. How sweet. Story 5. I actually have one. This was about a few months back when I came in for my early morning shift. The overnight crew was doing their tasks when one of the produce workers decided to take a cucumber, drop her pants, and use it on herself, while another worker recorded her doing it. The video got posted online and a major investigation was done, so that way this didn't become a PR nightmare. Manager pulled the entire overnight crew and described it in explicit detail. The girl was crying by the time the meeting ended and didn't see the recorder or the girl again after that meeting. Again, some PG clarification. She used the cucumber on herself like how you see people slice them up and put them on their eyes during spa treatments. A definite no-no at work. Also, while OP claims he never saw the recorder or the girl again, he surely did, except it wasn't in person. It was when he stumbled upon their Cucumber Hub account online. Story 6. I used to work at an Italian restaurant, and I worked in the salad station. I was the salad chef. My very Italian boss was very personal and would get close and would always talk with his hands and just move them a lot. And one day he was talking to me about making sure I have enough salad stuff prepped for the busy day we had ahead of us. As he's talking and moving his hands, I kid you not, one of his fingers accidentally went inside my nose. The worst part is that he didn't even acknowledge it or apologize or anything. He just kept talking. He was a great boss, though. As the old saying goes, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friends' noses. Story 7. I may or may not have some erotic literature that I've written under a pen name that my boss found on my work computer. He read it all, of course, and called me to his desk to, what I thought was to explain, but in reality was to demonstrate to him some of the more kinky aspects of the stories. I'm so glad my husband didn't mind. Of course, my boss is my husband, or was at the time, so the owner of the business was fine with it. Oh, my husband was also the owner, and the office was in our garage. Story 8. The funny thing is that story 13 happened to me. I was in a meeting with a newspaper reporter, and I had to show her the new logo for the company. The IT manager told me the logo was under folder X. I double-clicked it for a full-screen corn video to pop. I got so blushed and was embarrassed. All I could say was, "It's not my computer," and the reporter said, "It's okay, kid. This is normal for IT." She was in her early 30s and not impressed at all. Story 9. Used to work at my local Walmart, walked into the office, overhearing two of the female managers talking, one saying to the other, "You're going to get so much booty," as I approached. The door was open, though if I recall correctly, I did knock out of curiosity. Still, it made for an awkward moment. For what it's worth, both managers were very attractive. One was in her 20s at the time, and the other in her 30s. Story 10. Worked with a guy that would go ape crap in an office room where people may be on the phone after every time he was done speaking to the owner because he hated the owner's guts. One day I was picking items for an online order in the warehouse, and he came marching down the aisle chanting, "Kill, kill, kill, die, die, die." I told my manager I was going to lunch and never returned. Story 11. I worked in the public once. I had a guy look at my chest, big boobaloobaloobies, and literally reach out and try to grab one. I was wearing a wedding ring. I knocked his hand away before he got there with a, "No, those are my husband's," and then I stomped off. Afterwards, I was like, what the frick did I just say? Husband has brainwashed me into thinking those things are his, not mine. They are his favorite, though. Story 12. I made the same mistake as the person looking up Dick's Sporting Goods. It was in the early days of the internet, and I was showing a couple of teen boys how to look up websites. They were into sports, so they asked me to look up the store. When the wrong website came up, I quickly shut it down and said, "Oh, that's not it." The observers just stood there, saying nothing. Story 13. After I got divorced, I went out with an 18-year-old typist in my office. I wasn't her supervisor, so it was okay. She had the most spectacular body I had ever seen up close and personal. I was 32 and knew it wouldn't last, but it was a great summer. Story 14. Guess I'll add a food service one, tame for a kitchen, but watching the chef hit a line off a knife in my early kitchen days was a what the frick moment, especially since I was the only one who thought it was at all odds. A week later, I realized testing kitchen staff is the quickest way to shut down a restaurant. Story 15. I can confirm story 21 because I'm that animal. I have absolutely wrecked multiple public bathrooms in my life. That was until I found out I was allergic to freshwater fish, and I ate smoked Arctic trout and smoked brown trout all the time because they are the most delicious thing ever. Story 16. I work at a grocery store and was once told by a customer there was a mess in the bathroom. I walked in and almost added to said mess. Thankfully, I'm in a union, but I also have the right to refuse unsafe work in my province. So, yeah, no. Story 17. The weirdest, however, was when someone came up to me and said, "Your craft dinner is screaming." I thought this guy was a huge stoner, as he looked like one, but nope, it actually was some kid left a speaker behind said KD boxes. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.